Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Midgard Golf. And we're back out here today where it all began, where I did my first vlog on 4 Mile Ranch in Canyon City, Colorado. Always awesome to revisit this place and do another vlog and see some of the cats who were there on my first day, to include the starter who actually played the front nine with me on my first vlog ever, 4 years ago now. Michael out there, awesome dude. Always love to see him, always love talking to him. And Michael, if you see this video, thanks for always being such a cool dude. And I look forward to seeing you again. So, anyway, this is my first round back, obviously, back filming anyway, from breaking my leg. Broke my left leg. So, well, my ankle more specifically, for what they call a trimalleolar fracture. Now, if you're a doctor or you know anatomy, then you might be saying, well, that's stupid, because you only have 2 malleola in your ankle. Yeah, right. So I broke both of them. And then just above my lateral malleola, I also broke my distal fibula. So that's why they call it a trimalleolar fracture. So anyway, I've got, a plate and 12 total screws in my foot now that I'm dealing with. So, yeah. Trying to, relearn my game with respect to my weight shift and so on and so forth. But anyway, so bear with me here. But anyway, I meant to grab some more content this sort of winter and springtime down south in New Mexico and Arizona. But, well, I guess I will just have to reschedule that and get it for you guys at a later date. So anyway, moving on to this first hole here. I mean, you guys have seen it before, so yeah. I was going to actually do some Google Earth overhead imagery, right, and explain it that way, just to experiment with that, but oh boy, that was taking way too much time to render. So I was like, okay, you know what, now I'll just kind of do it this way. So, yeah, for the first hole here, obviously, you want to keep it left if you want a nice clear view on the hole for your second shot, that's for sure. And you got plenty of sideboard support to deal with, or to play with over there, in order to make it so you don't go too far and kind of roll yourself over the cart path, so long as your line is correct for where you start the ball, of course. That said, if a fade's all you got and you're just like, wow, that's too dangerous of a line for me to aim left on this hole, so long as you get it down there, at least from the blues where we're playing it, a good solid, I'm going to say 250 or so, then, yeah, I mean, there is a bailout spot, is what I'm trying to say, kind of down there and off to the right. You can see a sliver of it from the tee box here, but it certainly expands even further to the right than that. However, if you hit it over there, then your second shot onto the green will likely be a blind one. So, yeah, be leery of that. So, middle left of the fairway is definitely the garden spot, and if you happen to go a little bit too far left up on the hill there, then you're going to have an uneven lie to hit onto the green. However, you will be above the green so far as elevation is concerned, so you'll have that working enough in your favor. So, without further ado, driver in hand. I know I very rarely hit driver off the rip on this hole, but we're giving it a shot anyway. So, let's give it a rip and see what we can do. All right, ladies and gents, and here we are heading off to the second hole in our first par 5 of the day. And as we are playing the blue-white combo tees this day, the combos have us on the white tee box for this hole here. This hole and the next hole and the third hole there. So, yep, 487 is what it is for us, but tips out at 604, so pretty healthy par 5. Let's see here, and so far as the hole is shaped in general here, so it's pretty straight away for most of the hole here, and then right at the end it makes a very sharp, like 90-degree dog leg to the right in order to get to the green, and a lot of the green is likely going to be blind to you, no matter where you're attacking the green from. So yeah, it's again kind of a blind shot on the green, just like the first hole approach would be if you happen to miss to the right. So on this hole here, you definitely, absolutely, no fail, want to keep this ball to the left. If you're hitting a fade, I mean, you've got plenty of room to, take a lefterly line down the cart path there, or even to the left of the cart path if you know you're going to fade it, really well there. But, yeah, in order to hit that shape. But if you're hitting a draw, then, I mean, aiming right out into the middle or kind of right side of the fairway and pulling it in from there, that'll be just fine, too. Probably the preferred shape if you can hit that shape, indeed. If you miss to the right, though, if you're counting on a draw, but then you don't exactly get that draw, well, yeah, that's going to be really tricky to find your ball, and it's likely going to be in some nasty terrain up on the desert hill there, the kind of plateau, all the way that lines the hole all the way down to the right side there. So I really would not advise being in that. Let's see here. So once you get up to the green, no bunker trouble to deal with. Pretty much anywhere on this hole. You've got a little rock mound straight out in front of you from the tee box, but that's it. So, yeah, apart from that, no sand to worry about unless it's native sand out in the desert terrain. So, driver in hand. I've kind of been missing a little bit left recently, so, yeah, just kind of hanging back on my right leg a little bit more, not clearing my hips normally, as I normally would, I should say. So, anyway, I am counting on putting that ball straight down the left side. So, let's give it a rip and see what we can do. See if we can't hit this green in two. Pump a big one down there. Let's check it out. All right, ladies and gents, and here we are off to the third hole and the first par 3 of our day here. So, and kind of a tricky one at that. I mean, forced carry for most of the way, obviously, over this lake that's right in front of you. And then the hole plays a little bit uphill for you as well. Definitely a severely undulating green there. You've got this huge hump in the green off to the left. And yeah, if you end up having to play that hump in any way, shape, or form, that's going to be a really really tough putt for you to gauge in both speed and break. That's for sure. And a lot of greens are like that out here, but that's kind of the Jim Ing style. He just loves to mess with you in every way that he possibly can. So there's that. Anyway, you can miss a little bit short here and end up in the fairway, but that's going to be an unnecessarily uphill chip for you to do that. Long, I would say, yeah, you can miss about 5 yards long, maybe a little less of the green. You don't have a whole lot to play with on the backside of the green, but if you send it all the way up there to the back and it just kind of gets a little bit hot on you, you do have a healthy amount of backboard support back there to catch your ball. And make sure that you don't roll off into the desert wasteland. That would kind of take you to the next hole across the street there. So so far as left-right miss, I would say that missing left would be the better play, just because you simply have more grass to play with over there. However, the slope is much steeper on the hill off to the right. So if you do happen to miss to the right, especially with a draw shape, and you just didn't pull it in hard enough, fair chance you're going to roll all the way down that hill and end up right on the green anyway. So, yeah, I mean, pick your poison on how you want to play this hole, but really, I mean, try to really get comfortable with where that pin is on the green, and stick that yardage as best you can, just because you do not want to be putting the entire length of this green. That's for sure. It's just way too undulating to even have a snowball's chance in hell of making a birdie if you're doing that, or even really a 2-putt par. You're probably looking at a 3-putt if you're having to putt the whole length of this green. So let's give it a rip and see what we can do. The pin's kind of middle back today, so that's what we're going for. So that 128 number, playing about a 7-8 yard hill here. So, yeah, probably playing it around 135 or so. So, let's give it a rip and see what we can do. Got the... I actually have the... what? No. Well, so the card... That's right. So the card was 128, but because the tee box was closed where the whites would normally be, they actually stepped it back. So we're actually playing it at 165. That's right, I recall now. So anyway, I had the 9 iron in hand. What am I talking about? It was at 128, even 135, I'd have the 52 degree in hand. So yeah, 9 iron in hand, and it's playing to the blues, even though it's got us on the whites. So let's give it a rip and see what we can do. All right, ladies and gents, and here we are at the 4th hole. And I apologize, I didn't film the drive up, but yeah, we came from back there. So, yeah, just across the street here. I just simply forgot. So, short par 4 here. What you see is what you get. You've got those 3 rock mounds to deal with, but yeah, apart from that, really nothing to worry about. So, I mean, definitely drivable for us, playing at 305. It's tipping out at 374, though, so once you step it back to the tips, I think for most people that takes it out of driving range, so far as driving the green is concerned. But for us, it simply is in range. Playing uphill, though, so probably playing more like 325, 330. but still, a well-struck drive could certainly get there. So anyway, definitely the shot is a cut here. That's for sure. So, because if you hook one, you're going to be in somebody's backyard or, in somebody's window, somebody's living room or kitchen, whatever faces the hole there in those houses. So, definitely, don't do that. Don't hook one. If you fade it a little too hard, though, you might end up having to deal with some desert terrain out there to the far right. But all in all, it's pretty flat out there. And fair chance you're going to find your ball unless you end up in one of the big trees. But yeah, those bushy trees, they can certainly block your shot onto the green if you end up behind one. So that's unfortunate. Green itself is kind of raised up on a volcano for you, but a volcano with some slope backboard support towards the back. So happy days on that. So I would say missing long on this green, just slightly long, would be the play. To make sure that you have a decent third shot, hopefully a putt up into this hole. So, driver in hand, trying to play that cut. Let's give it a rip and see what we can do. All right, ladies and gents, and here we are heading off to the fifth hole, and another short par 4 for us today, playing at just 300 yards, tipping out at 402, and the combos have us on the white tees for this one here. So the blues would be 352. So anyway, yeah, that would make it a pretty solid par 4, but for us today, playing pretty easy. Now, I say that, however, the shape of this hole is where the treachery is here. So hard sloping fairway from left to right here, with that massive hill off to the left. And as you make your way further down there, of course it's blind to you from no matter what tee box you're playing, but it chokes up very fast on you as you approach the green. And I mean, it's a nice lumpy little stretch of grass that walks you up to the green too, for when it does choke up on you. So anyway, the play here, definitely keep it left. From this angle here, you can see kind of a little bushy tree sort of popping up over the hill off to the left there, just before you kind of reach what would appear to be the kind of out of bounds area. That's where I would aim if I was you. Now, if you're going to hit a draw, though, I'd aim at the telephone pole. That's, a little bit to the right of that, and then kind of pull it in from there. Hit just a baby draw back in, but definitely hang to the left. Because if you miss to the right, since the hole's also a dog leg left, then you can easily miss long on this fairway if you kind of take a center of the fairway line out there and end up hitting a picture perfect drive and ending up out into the weeds anyway, and that's just a crying shame. No reason for that. So keep this ball left. However you can get that done, that's my advice. Right is just nowhere you need to be. I mean, you're just making this hole unnecessarily long and bringing into play the desert terrain from punching it all the way through the fairway that is just simply not necessary. To say nothing of There's a kind of a desert hill that's right before the green that kind of stretches down the right side of the skinny portion of the fairway that will make it into a blind shot onto the screen if you're attacking it from the right side anyway. So no matter what, you have zero advantage from missing this fairway to the right, or simply playing this fairway to the right, which would appear on the tee box, no doubt to you if you're playing this course for the first time, to be the safe line. But it's just ridiculous to play it out there, so just don't do it. Once you get up onto this green, really try to hit your approach onto the proper side of the green. There's a huge hump in the green that kind of goes right through the middle of it, sort of perpendicular to the way that you'll be facing the green. And you don't want to be on the wrong side of that. And I'm gonna demonstrate why on this hole. Little foreshadowing for you. But without further ado, I got the 2-iron in hand because no reason to hit driver, accidentally miss it right, and pump it out into the desert anyway. So, yeah, deuce in hand. We're just trying to keep it left at all costs. So let's give it a rip and see what we can do. All right, ladies and gents, and here we are heading off to the beast, the 6th hole here at 4 Mile Ranch, the undisputed, unequivocally #1 handicap on this course, without a doubt. One of the hardest holes I think I've ever played in Colorado, that's for sure, and maybe in my life. I mean, this hole, no matter what, I mean, every single shot you will play on this hole will be intimidating. So it's just not fair at all. So you just, if you can get out of this hole with a par, that's a good score. If you could somehow make a birdie, you got lucky, right? And if you eagle it, man, you're walking on water. You should celebrate after that. So anyway, this hole here, par 5, playing for us from the Blues at 529, tipping out at 563. So, pretty lengthy, pretty healthy, albeit not, overly monstrous in terms of length. However, so you've got force clearance and then, a whole lot of blind, just everything, looking out into the fairway there. It looks a lot narrower than it is, that's for sure. But it definitely opens up down there, gives you a little room to land. But, I mean, boy, you don't feel like that when you're standing on the tee box, that's for sure. A cut shape is definitely the preferred shape for this hole, that's for sure. But there's nothing preventing you from hitting a draw either. However, if you do hit a draw, then you're bringing into play kind of the desert plateau there off to the left if you draw it too hard. And although I have played it from up top of that plateau a few times, hitting a draw onto this hole, and it's not that bad if you can find your ball out there and you don't just snap hook it ridiculously, but yeah, it's not fun either, and it's certainly a butt pucker. And the only thing that you get up there is kind of some elevation advantage. But your lie is not going to be great because it's kind of like some shaly, rocky desert terrain up there. It's just not fun. And likely will scratch up your club. So, no bueno. Anyway, so you've got kind of a rock mound to deal with as well, sort of over there off to the right if you do hit a fade and fade it a little too hard. There is kind of a clearing if you hit it the right yardage. Over there off to the right of everything, the right of the cart path. I've played it out of that before. Matter of fact, I was there, I believe, the first time that I vlogged this course and played it out of that, and you're just fine. Although, you are going to have to hit something that's a lot shorter of a club than you'd want to for the yardage that you'll have left if you end up in that, just so you can get over the, excuse me, the desert mountains that'll be right in front of you. Let's see here. As you approach the green, if you're going for it in two, then yeah, you're going to have to hit one heck of a shot to get over the mound, kind of the desert mound that guards the entire green to the front and will completely make this green invisible to you. So there's a little post on top of that mound that sort of signifies what you want to hit over in order to strike the middle of the green, and that's it. So, and if you fall up short of that, then it's steep enough to where your ball will likely roll right back down that hill and put you in the grass somewhere, and then you're going to have to hit a flop shot, with like a 60 degree or some kind of lob wedge up onto the green from there. Once you get up on the green, you can pretty much miss nowhere. I mean, it's a bowl green, so if you barely miss the yardage that you're looking for, regardless of where you're attacking the green from, then the ball will likely catch you and then spit you right back out onto the green, unless it's grown out long that day, and then it might hang you up, and then you're going to have a really seriously downhill chip to get onto the green if that happens. But pretty fair chance that if you just barely misjudge the yardage, then it'll catch your ball and roll you back down onto the green. So that's nice. But if you miss it by like, I'm going to say like 8 yards or more to any direction, you're dead. You're probably not finding that ball. So just an incredibly difficult hole, no matter how you spin it. I mean, you could play it a bunch of different ways. You could iron it to death and just 3-piece it, or you could, go for a drive, especially if you can hit a pretty cut and maybe try to attack it in 2, but you're likely going to get hung up by that front wall right in front of the green anyway, so no shame in that. So anyway, no matter what, just soak it up. This is a really tough hole. Try to make yourself a par on it. And get out of there and wipe the sweat off your forehead and move on to what will be a really cool hole and a much more inviting hole for the next one thereafter. So, driver in hand, going for that cut shape. Let's see if I can pull it off. Let's check it out. All right, ladies and gents, and here we are heading off to the 7th hole and the final par 3 for this first part of this 2-part series out here at 4 Mile Ranch. So, yeah, like I said, much more inviting the hole here. Playing for us at 140 yards on the blue tees and tipping out at 160. So, yeah, I mean, fairly easy yardage no matter who you are. But that said, you got a tee box, you got a green, and that's about it. Right? There's a little bit of kind of rough length grass that surrounds the green on all sides, and I mean a little bit. But apart from that, you can't miss anywhere on this. That said, it's a huge green, one of the biggest greens on the course, so that's nice. But that said, it's seriously undulating all over the place, so you definitely want to be in the correct tier, both left, right, and front back, to give yourself any kind of chance to make birdie, and at the very least stave off the three putt. So anyway, pins over there off to the left today, which is good news for me. I love it when it's over there off to the left, just because the right, it always feels like I'm kind of flirting with falling into more treachery than I really need to be worried about. So very happy about that. And it's a bit bowlish over there off to the left too. So while it looks like it's more of an intimidating shot because you can see less of the green over there off to the left than you can off to the right from the tee box there, it's actually a more inviting portion of the green. So that's nice. So anyway, I have the gap wedge in hand. I'm just taking up a draw side grip, draw side swing here. And yeah, I'm just going to try to stick that number and get it somewhere close to that flag. So let's give it a rip and see what we can do. All right, ladies and gents, and here we are heading off to the eighth hole. And just a nice, pleasant par 4 for us here. Playing for us at 307 yards, tipping out at 353. And downhill pretty much the whole way, so playing a little bit less than that, I'd say. Maybe about 20 yards less or so. So probably playing for us at like 390 or something like that. But anyway, yeah, just a, just a nice hole to take a breath. That's for sure. So absolutely drivable. I've driven this hole before. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I drove it the first vlog that I played out here. Yeah, all the way to the back of the green. If the wind is against you, like it is today, and it's just howling right in your face, it's actually a pretty windy day out here today for us. I mean, gusts I think we're up to like 25 or 30 miles an hour, something like that. So, yeah, it was pretty strong, that's for sure. But yeah, if the wind is in your face, then fat chance you're going to end up driving it. But happy days, whatever. It's it's not that bad of a hole, no matter what. Here, you've got a very inviting fairway, that's for sure. You've got some room to miss kind of a shorter drive off to the left, but the further down the fairway you go, that reprieve, that sort of allowance to miss off to the left shores up real quick and sucks all the way back to the hole and just, narrows up on you real fast. And, narrows up on you with a nice desert hill there off to the left where you can really, really get screwed by that. So you definitely don't want to be on that. I'm saying that the good side miss here is off to the right. If you miss really hard right, obviously you're going to be out in some desert terrain that's going to be almost impossible to find your ball. And even if you do find it, it's going to be an incredibly difficult shot to get onto the green from there. But if you kind of play off to that left line and cut it from there and keep it in play, good amount of sideboard support so long as you stay in the green stuff to keep you in play. Regardless of how hard you hit that hill with a fade shape. And then also you're going to have a nice clear shot onto the green from wherever you are off to the right. and it'll be either flat ground or just slightly uphill. Either way, it's going to feel nice and gentle for you. So, without further ado, I'm trying to drive the green. So, let's see if I can do it. But with the wind in my face, so it's going to be a challenge. I'm just trying to punch one down there. So, let's give it a rip and see what we can do.
You drove it.
Nice ball.
Might have got the green.
Right at the pin, dude.
Yeah.
Right at the pin.
Just in front of it. Good shot.
It's a front pin.
That's the best drive of the day right there, man.
Yeah, that's a good one.
For everybody.
Killed it.
Yeah, I'll take it.
All right, ladies and gents, and here we are heading off to the 9th hole. And of course, the final hole for this first part of this two-part series out here at 4 Mile Ranch in Canyon City, Colorado. So, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you're liking this content, yeah, please throw us a like and subscribe. You know we would love to see you back. And, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be getting as much content up on the channel as I can, that's for sure. But, yeah, I mean, you know, obviously still recovering from my leg there, but I am back. So I will I'll be hitting it as hard as I possibly can, like I said. So anyway, this 9th hole here, kind of a nice tee box that we're playing from. It's got us on the whites here playing at 334. The blues would be 395 and the tips would be 430. But from either the blues or the tips, this drive would be a blind one. So that hill that you can see there off to the left would be what you're staring at and hitting over. And that kind of barber pole there would be your kind of aiming spot of what you'd want to hit over in order to get to the fairway. That said, you have a split fairway here. So there's like kind of a string desert sort of mound right in the, that kind of cuts the fairway in two. And then there's fairway length grass to the left of it and the right of it. If you're to the right of it, then you'll have the high ground, so to speak, to attack this green, or the highest ground that you can have, I should say. If you're off to the left, then you'll have the low ground, and it'll be more of an uphill shot. So that's really the only difference you're dealing with here. Either way is just fine, though. Pretty, sizable green when you get up there, though. Although, there's a pretty sharp little rough length hill that crawls its way up to the green. If you end up just short onto that, it's going to be kind of an awkward chip to climb up that and, stick it up on the green. But apart from that, not a whole lot to worry about. And you certainly have a fair amount of grass all around the green on all sides to play with if you happen to misjudge distance or shape. So, yeah, there's that. And anyway, so I've got the driver in hand. It's playing short for us, 334. So again, I'm just going to try to hit it down there as far as I can. And boy, maybe I'll catch fire and hit the green. But again, same direction as the last hole. And the wind is also, again, right into my face. So let's find out. Either way, if we could pump it down there a good ways, we should have a pretty short shot onto the screen. So let's give it a rip and see what we can do. And as always, I hope all of you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.